Another week, another NXT banger. The entire month of February and the start off March, every episode of NXT has been a banger. NXT is currently the best and most consistent weekly television show. Even in January, I felt like them and Dynamite were competing for the best show of the month. But throughout the year, NXT has been the best weekly wrestling television show between WWE, AEW, TNA. NXT is where it's at. This is where you're getting the most consistent wrestling. This is where you get a great balance. You get a lot of women's wrestling. You get great men's action. People talking about how weak the men's world title scene had been, so they take advantage of the partnership with TNA and they bring Moose into the picture for a little bit. And now next week at Roadblock, they got a stacked show. You had Roxanne Perez versus Jordan Grace because he revisited a story that they had already been telling at one point. You have Julia versus Stephanie, a match that everybody wants to see. Now the fact that it's title versus title is interesting, but everybody wants to see that match, and we're getting it next week, and it's going to be in Madison Square Garden, and that's one of the biggest, probably the biggest venue in the United States, especially for a wrestling show. You have the Hardy Boys going up against Frasium in a tag team match. Frasium probably the best tag team right now. They're wrestling consistently. They're cutting solid promos. They put on banger matches. And then the Hardy Boys, one of, if not the greatest tag team of all time, going up against each other. So you have two amazing tag teams from two different generations going up against one another. On this episode of NXT, you just had Tony D'Angelo and Shawn Spears put on a banger of a match. And the way that Tony D'Angelo lost, he was protected. Because obviously he was able to beat Obafemi for the title, and he's the only guy to beat Obafemi at this point. But in this match, they told the story of his back giving out, which caused him to lose the match. So he still looked good, even though he lost the match. The women's stories have been solid. Like I said, you're telling the story of Zarya and Saul Ruka becoming a tag team and them having their struggles with being able to pick up wins. You can very well see I could very well see them as a team that wins tag team championships at some point, assuming that they stay around. Because I hope they don't get rid of them, because you have teams like the Meta Girls, like Saul Ruka and Zarya, who could actually do something with those tag titles. Even Kane Carter and Katana Chance, but they barely wrestle. I think they're on SmackDown now. But NXT is the best weekly television show. It's the most consistent. They definitely had the best women's roster. The main event scene is still not the best, but now that you had the addition of Ricky Saints, that definitely helps it a little bit. The story with Javon Evans and All Ego Ethan Page has been good. It's not a lot of negatives I can point out with NXT. Like, I don't think they're not putting on perfect episodes, but the episodes these last 5 weeks have been damn near perfect. They've been close to it.